Hello, this is Mazin Alboaswad from Iraq. I am a postgraduate student at the University of Liverpool-school of Engineering. I would like to welcome you, Joe, and I'm thrilled to have you today, and thank you for accepting my invitation. Today we are going to talk about the library at the University of Liverpool in general. So can you introduce yourself? What is your job title? What are you responsible for?
Of course, my name is Joe. I am a customer services assistant here in the library. It is part of my job to help with the day-to-day running of the library, whether that's processing books or sitting on the desk, helping students, directing people around, just making sure the library is running as best as it can.
Okay, great. So I have some points in my agenda to be demonstrated and discussed today. So first, I would like to ask you to give a historical background about the libraries in University of Liverpool. As far as I know, there were like two main libraries, Sidney Jones Library and Harold Cohen Library, but today we are focusing on the Sidney Jones Library because it's like the biggest one and the more spacious one and the one that I am regular with it, and I am I like it the most. So today we are going to focus on the Sidney Jones Library. So can you give us a brief historical background about Sidney Jones Library?
Sure. I believe, and I'm by no means an expert, but I believe this library was built by the university in the 1970s, and then it was purpose-built as a library. And then about 20 years or so ago, they decided to combine it with the building next to it, which used to be Senate House. But then, we combined them into one, and now that's just one of the other wings. So the original library is Grove Wing, which is where we are right now, and Abercrombie Wing used to be Senate House, that's at the other side of the building. I'll go into a brief history of Harold Cohen as well, because they would be sad if I excluded them.
Yeah.
Harold Cohen Library was built, I believe, in the 1930s.
So it's the oldest one.
It's the older of the two. And Harold Cohen himself, here's a fun fact, he died before he could see it built. So he donated money, and then they or maybe it was the started building it. I should have studied for this, but I didn't. So I think it was before he came to the first bricklaying, or maybe it was towards. Either way, he was on his way to see it, and he died before he could get it.
Thank you. So, and I would like to ask you. So, as I mentioned, that we are going to focus on Sidney Jones Library,
sure,
which is my favorite. So, can you give us approximate or rough about the capacity of this library in terms of the capacity of students and in terms of the number of books that that this library can offer or has?
No, definitely. So this is the slightly bigger of the on-campus libraries. There's a third library in across the water, Lea Hurst Library, but that's for veterinary studies.
Nice.
So this is the larger of the two on-campus libraries. I don't know the exact capacity because we do keep adding new study spaces for more and more people to get in. I've seen it max out around 1,800 before, but I don't know if that's the maximum or how much higher than that it can go. But we can certainly get quite a lot of people in the building. I think the Harold Cohen is a little bit less than that.
Okay, so good. So now,
go
ahead.
And the amount of books in the library.
Yes.
There's just over 2 million books in the library at any one time. That's not counting our various electronic book collection or our journal collections either.
Oh, you mean like the hard copy and soft copy?
Yes, So we've got online versions of a lot of books because we have limited space. It's a big library, but we have limited space. So anything we are getting rid of, we will digitize first. So there's a lot of books that we have electronic copies of, but we don't have the physical copies of.
And what kind of majors and disciplines are this library dedicating for?
So Sydney Jones Library caters for arts and humanities. So English, philosophy, politics, any of those and more. So arts and humanities, like law as well, is in here. Whereas Harold Cohen is more sort of engineering, science, maths, medicine.
Okay, so aside from the books, the Sydney Jones Library offers and provides like a spacious area for studying, a quiet like study halls, and for social activities and.
Yes, we've got 3 different noise zones in the library. The first is social study, where you can be quite large, you can work in a group, as long as you're not making a crazy amount of noise, will not bother you. We've got silent study, which is as it sounds, just silence, no talking. We're not gonna like jump down your throat if you're asking your friend to borrow a pencil or anything, but just generally speaking, silence if possible. And then the third one is a quiet study, which is sort of the in-between. So you can do a little bit, we wouldn't advise group work, but you can have quiet conversations and stuff. It's a little bit ambiguous, but you know, we will go and check out any complaints about noise and stuff. We do that with anywhere in the library, but quiet is the place where we'll check. Not the most, but because of how ambiguous it is, really.
Fabulous. And now we are moving on to the work times or work hours. So as far as I heard that this library is open 24 hours, 7 days a week, all over the year, with some exceptions. So can you elaborate on the work time?
Sure. So the library is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through term time, with some exceptions like around Christmas, but they're like advertised on the website. Sort of post-academic year, so after everyone goes home in June, we go back to a more limited opening. So then we'll be usually open from, it varies, but usually somewhere between 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning and 6 or 9 p.m. It depends on the library and the type of.
But in the semester, like in the semester time, so it's going to be 24/7 days.
All through semester, it should be 24 hours a day, and if there is any exceptions to that, then we advertise it.
Which is like a great attribute and feature in my opinion, because something like specific, because I can invest my time here in the library. Because you know, like when I am like at my home or at my room, I may fall asleep or like get distracted. But here, everything like helps me to be more focused and away from distraction. So now, as you mentioned that like the library provides bookable rooms. So every students are eligible to book these rooms. I think with the maximum hours like 4 hours a day. So can you like explain or like talk a little bit about these rooms, this service?
Of course, we have several bookable rooms across both libraries. They are varying sizes for different amounts of people. So most of them are for like up to 3 people, but we've got a few that are for larger groups, which are appropriate for up to 8 or so people as well. You can book them through the library website. And like, as you said, it's up to 4 hours at a time, and you can only book them a couple of days ahead. So you won't be able to book them for next week. You can only book a few days in advance.
Okay, thank you. So now I would like to ask you, what do you like the most about your job? And another part of this question, what difficulties like are you facing like with the students? And I would like to focus on the language difficulties, because a lot of like it's a multicultural, a lot of international students, and they speak English as a second language. So in terms of language, I would like to focus on language.
Of course.
So what difficulties and what do you like the most about your job?
Okay, I like the most, God, there's a lot. I really like my job.
That's good.
It's a lovely place to work. the team that I'm in are fantastic. Everybody works really hard, and we take care of each other. But I'd say my favourite part is interactions with the students. It's nice to have day-to-day interactions and to be able to help people out, and especially some people come into the library the day they arrive in the country.
Yeah, exactly.
They come in because they're not really sure where else to go, and we're open. And it's nice to be able to help those people.
Exactly. They are lost and shocked.
Exactly, and they're like, oh no, the library's open, we'll go there and we'll ask. And if nothing else, we can direct them to the right places to go, or, you know, just tell them the library services or whatever. But I'd say, yeah, just interact
So
with
you are
students.
acting like the rescuer or the survivor or the savior
Well, no more of a
for the
chaperone,
students
I
who are
guess.
lost.
Kind of, yeah. We're a signpost.
Yeah, and what other services that that the library provides that, for example, me as a student, I'm not aware of, like we could say like events or
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll answer your previous question first. The difficulties
yeah,
with
sorry,
language.
sorry.
No, that's fine. So yeah, we obviously get a lot of students who English is a second language. I wouldn't say it causes that many problems, because all it takes to like understand is patience. Usually, it's very rare we'll come across a student who has no English.
Yeah.
So often it just takes a bit of time and patience.
You have to bear with them as much as possible.
Exactly, because generally there's always going to be a way of communicating eventually. So as long as sometimes it is challenging if you've got a lot to do.
Yeah.
But it's always worth doing, because like it doesn't really matter what your language is. You're a user of the library, and you're a member of the university, and you need to get your point across, and you need to be helped regardless. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was your second question, sorry?
I appreciate it, but who is eligible to have access to the university, like briefly?
Okay, so any member of the university can come into the libraries. But you can sign up for a visitor card if you need somewhere to study. It costs £5 a year, and you need photo ID and proof of address.
Okay.
You generally have to have a reason for coming. You can't just do it on a whim. Like we will ask, like, why are you going to be using the library? But aside from those two groups, we also offer cards for alumni. So once you graduate, you can sign up for an alumni card, and you can keep getting access to the library year round. The visitors are only allowed in during term time. Not during term time, all year round except for assessment periods. Whereas alumni can come in year round, and they can still get out up to 10 books at a time.
Okay. And there is electronic gates, and it's monitoring.
Sorry, pardon?
The electronic gates.
Oh, electronic gates, yes. Yeah. So the card will get you in through those. Otherwise you have to stop and ask. You asked about services as well.
Yeah, like the services that we could say not all students are aware of.
Yeah, okay. So we've got we sell stationery back from the desk for like quite reasonable prices. We also have got a binding service. So if you're handing in work and you'd like it bound into a book, we offer 3 different types of binding of varying prices, some of which we do, some of which we give the kits for. We have printing services here, so people can come in to print. We also have a team in the library called the Know-How team, who you may have heard of.
Yes.
They run sessions such as like creative writing, helping to like write essays and stuff, referencing. You can book those through the library homepage as well. They're really good for not just learning skills, but also meeting people.
Yes. Okay. So personally, I would like to convey my experience. So I personally have benefited from the library in many aspects, such as the study rooms, which are equipped with heaters, with tables, with chairs, with whiteboard, with data show sometimes. So it lets students to focus more away from distraction. Another part, making friends. So since you are in the library, you can make friends or even acquaintances, as well as like practice English for international students. So since there is a communal area inside the library, so I can have some chat to practice my English and to be more exposed to English as well. Another part, the library provides a prayer room for Muslim community. So as like Muslim individual, I have benefited from this service, which is really appreciated. And the printers, as you mentioned, students just can upload their documents through websites, and you can use any printers all over the campus. Just scan your ID and you will find your documents and print it easily and smoothly. So the privacy and safety, since I could say the majority of people inside the library are knowledgeable, and mostly students and the staff. Speaking of the staff are really affable, amiable, responsive, and that's a genuine. It's not compliment. I mean, yeah, and I would like to talk about like my previous experience, just to make a comparison. When I was in my alma mater university, University of Tikrit, we had a spacious library as well. But the timetables was designed to be intense and tight. So
Right.
we didn't have, as engineering student in particular, we didn't have time to visit the library enough to spend enough time there because of the timetable. And what I have found here, that the timetable is kind of less intense, and I could say lenient. For example, we have in my course now, I have a full week as a study week. So I have to attend the university, but I don't have the classes. So I can invest the time of being inside the campus by visiting the library and discover other facilities. So yeah, and finally, I would say going to the library has versatile benefits, and it's a part and parcel of university life. So thank you again. Thank you one more time, and it was it was my honor and a privilege to meet you and to talk to you. And if you have something to add,
Sure.
Since what's your feeling talking to students from abroad?
Yeah.
And he's speaking English as a second language. What do you think about my English, for example?
Your English is very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I enjoy talking to students from all over the world. You get just an amazing array of people from different places and different life experiences.
Multicultural.
Exactly, yeah, which is fantastic. A couple of things I would say. We would never advise leaving things unattended. So if you are studying in the library and you've got your laptop and you want to go out for a coffee or something, we don't advise you leave it there. You should always pack it up and take it with you, because most people in the library are students, but some are visitors, and some students, you never know. So it's best. We can't take responsibility for anything that is taken from desks. A couple of other things that we run that I should bring attention to. Me and a colleague, you've probably seen him, Jack. We have started a library podcast, which is it talks about stuff to do with the library. It's literally just launched, so that's worth checking out. Live Pod. and just generally keep in touch over our social media, because anything that's happening in the library, whether that's silent discos or coffee and chat or any of these various things, we'll advertise on there. So keep an eye on those. There's always something going on, and feel free to pop in and say hi. But aside from that, thank you for having me on and talking to me.
Thank you. It's my honor. Thank you. So, yeah, goodbye.
Thanks.